over 3,000 companies in the state, and I want to share with you just some of the strategies that we've heard from companies as we hear regularly we don't have enough people to do the work. And what I will tell you first off, there's no magic website. Everyone's looking for it. Everyone's asking, where do we post? How do we find the people that are out there? Where did all of the people go? And there's no magic website. So we'll start there. But what I want to share with you is it does come back to your organization. I believe there's a speaker later this morning talking about your branding. We're really starting to think as leaders, why do people want to work for your organization? What's different about your organization when we have choices? We can work remotely. We can work for companies in other states. Why do people want to work on Cape Cod or in southeastern Massachusetts or for your organization specifically? And I'd say it comes down to two things as you're thinking about this. The first one is flexibility. So going back and looking at your jobs, looking at the way you've done things and thinking, is there a different way that we can do this? Does it have to be the same as what we've always done? And being a little bit creative as you think about that. So on Cape Cod, we know unemployment is low. We know the average age of people who live in Barnstable County is around 56, 57 years old compared to 39 in the rest of the state. So we know that there's an older population here. Barnstable County is also a highly educated county. It's number 6 out of 14 counties in the state, so you do have over 50% of the population that's educated. So you have to kind of think about that. Who are the people that live here that you might be able to employ? I started at AIM HR Solutions in 2006, and at the time I had 3 children under 5 years old, and I had been working in HR for about 12 years before that, and I said to my husband, I want to work 5 days a week from 10 to 2. And he said, okay, that sounds great, but I don't know where you're going to do that as an HR person. I don't know how that's going to work. Unfortunately, AIM had a model, which we still have, which is part-time HR. So people on our team work part-time, they work remote, they work hybrid, work flexible schedules. And this is something that we've been doing since 2006. And it enabled me, then as my kids went to school, I was able to increase the number of hours, and they grew up. Now they're out of college, and I've been able to continue and work a regular full-time schedule, but it fit my needs at the time. We have other people on our team that are close to retirement. They're looking to downsize their schedule a little bit so they can work these flexible schedules. So people who work with us get very seasoned HR people who might have 30, 40 years of HR experience, but maybe they're working for us 20 hours a week. So think about that. Is that an opportunity for you and your company to change your schedule a little bit? Does everybody have to work 40 hours? We worked with manufacturing companies who always had a schedule of a 7 to 3 shift. They said, this is the way we've always done it. This is how our machines operate. And one of the things I think that happened during the pandemic is that it put a lot of pressure on parents and caregivers. So people who were taking care of even senior family members. And so some manufacturing companies that we've worked with have said, you know what, we're going to change our schedule to a 9 to 3. We're going to help those people that are parents, men and women, get their children on the bus and still be able to come to work. AIM has an initiative that we're working on right now. It's called Pink Slip. And Pink Slip is taking a look at the way that the pandemic disproportionately impacted women in the workplace. And a lot of that was because of caregiving. So prior to the pandemic, there were about 11,000 caregivers in the state. That number dropped down to about 7,000 during the pandemic and has come back up a little bit to about 8,500 caregivers. But it's still, we know it's expensive, we know that it's difficult, and so we're encouraging employers and executives to think about how can you keep women in the workplace and promoting them into higher positions and really valuing the role of women in the workplace. And one strategy that a lot of companies have employed, which I think is very simple, is to not to have any meetings before 9 in the morning. Much like Martha having this conference starting at 9, it allows parents, again, which primarily falls on females to be the caregiver, to get children on the bus and be able to get to work. Women in the workplace have not been able to advance times because they've taken a step back and they've taken a part-time role, or they have said, I can't come in before 9. And that has maybe impacted their ability to grow in the workplace. So as an executive, I encourage you to think about that. Is that something that you can do in your workplace? It's a very simple step to encourage women. One of the things I heard the general talk about was talking about the training program for the troops and becoming certified as teachers. On the Cape and the Islands, we know that you have a large population of people coming from other states and other countries, particularly people from other countries who may not be native English speakers. So is that an opportunity for you to bring people into your organization? And go back again, think about your job descriptions. Is it a requirement for people to have an education? Is it a requirement for people to speak English? And if it is that something that you can help foster and facilitate? So it might be something like making English as a second language programs available to your employees. It might be having groups where your employees can work and learn from each other and learn about culture and welcome people into your community that may not otherwise feel welcome in your workplace. Maybe there are free resources available to you through local libraries or that you could bring into your workplace to help educate and train, again, non-native English speakers to welcome that population. So what I want you to do again is think outside the box. When I mentioned that there was no magic website, we did a survey of employers in Massachusetts last year, and 93% said they use Indeed. So 93% using Indeed. The second most common place was LinkedIn at 12%. Okay, so if Indeed is where you're posting, how are you finding people to come and work for you? Some of it might be in the way that you're listing your title, job title. It's all done through a search engine. So what are you doing that's going to be something that's going to be universally appealing for people to find you? So thinking about that, kind of again going back to what the job is, what the job requires, and how you're going to find people. One of the other ways that we all know that people find work or find help is through word of mouth. So if somebody enjoys working at your company, they appreciate your culture, they've enjoyed their experience there, they're more likely to tell other people about that. So you want to be careful of bias. You don't want to end up with all people who are part of the same family, social network, friend network. You want to be able to diversify, but understand that maybe it's an opportunity for you to develop a referral bonus. Spread it out over the course of a year, $250 for every quarter that the person stays with you to encourage that retention rate. So word of mouth is another big way. But a creative way that we heard from a company that they were doing is they were partnering with another seasonal business. So if you're a seasonal business on the Cape, if you are a landscaper or in the hospitality industry and you are looking for people in the summer, try to partner now with an organization that hires people in the winter. So the ski resorts up in Maine, find if they don't have a summer season that they need people, see if you can partner and share those same employees 6 months a year and you trade them off. Maybe it's a local snowplow business and you're a landscaper and you can, again, trade off employees that might want to work with you during those off seasons. So really being creative. The last thing that I'll leave you with is one question that we get a lot, is it about compensation? We know minimum wage has gone up significantly over the last 5 years. We know that there's trends of people earning more. And I'd caution you to be really careful before you just decide to throw money at hiring, because once you put that compensation out there, it's hard to pull it back. You're going to end up with exponential increases year over year. And the hardest part is that it can also impact your employees that are currently working for you. So if you spend a lot of money on somebody that you're hiring new, but you're not making increases to employees that are currently with you, you could end up with a compression issue. So I put compensation kind of at the bottom of your list, and think about your culture, think about your creativity, and how you can be flexible as an employer.
Wow.
So, thank you.